Commercial Construction Coffee Talk fans. Thanks for chiming in. My name's David Corson. I'm your host. I'm also the publisher and editor of Commercial Construction and Renovation magazine. Well, we're digital now, but this is what it used to look like when we were printing it. Anyway, got Mr. JLL above me, and Chris from Mammoth. Got the chicken guy above my shoulder, Tim Holton. Got Valor Hospitality, my next cover in the next week or so. Very excited to have the BP Construction and Design on there, and just all in all, had our last issue with an Asian grocer out in the Pacific Northwest. It's getting eaten up on the web. A lot of people opening up a beautiful store facility and a nice looking chain, and just lots of stuff going on. Hope everybody had a great weekend. We're starting the week out. Beautiful day in the South here in the ATL. No humidity. It's going to be about 85. Not a cloud in the sky. It's just been unbelievably nice. Indian summer here in the South is just unbelievable. The leaves don't change in the fall here until probably mid-November, Thanksgiving-ish. The wind blows, and but as I said on my previous podcast, if you've never seen the trees in the South, I mean, I'm from up north, so I know how beautiful it gets. And when I was out at university, I got my DU, I'm applying my DU colors today. I know out west in Colorado, we don't really get those, the oranges and the reds. It's more, golden yellow and the aspens. Down here in the South, we get all the colors just like they do up north. We just get them a little later. But if you've never seen it, God, you can go up to North Georgia or by the border of Tennessee. It is just beautiful up there in the mountains. And if you're a motorcycle guy, the ride up to Helen, Georgia, or Asheville, man, it's like it's one of the best rides you can do. So, but enjoying the weather as much as I can. And all in all, another great weekend. Georgia won. Tech, they just fired their coach. He 4 years, see you later, losing record, got to go. Braves won last night. Big series coming up, Mets, Braves. Who's going to win the division and go into the playoffs? And, the Braves, they won the World Series last year. So defending champions. And just like the Georgia Bulldogs are defending too. So everybody wants to knock them off when they play. But big series coming up here this week with the Mets and the Braves. So should be exciting. And all in all, hey, we're just rocking down here. Plenty. Everybody's busy. Plenty of construction going on, and the weather's beautiful. So if you're outside, once again, make sure you're staying hydrated, drinking lots of water, and most important, stay safe. So as we start a week off, I've got one of my old-time buds, hockey compadres. His name is Mr. John DiNunzio. He's the president of IdentiCom Sign Solutions. And, we're both only 26. We're both hockey players. We're trying to, get out there on the ice and, be Connor McDavid. He plays for the Edmonton Oilers. He's probably the fastest guy on the ice these days. Anyway, we always talk hockey, and I was like, John, you haven't been on the podcast. You got to come on and tell your story. So John is in the Motor City of Detroit. John, say hello to our listeners out there in Commercial Construction Coffee Talk.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, David. Appreciate it. Love your energy.
Yeah.
And you got much better weather than we do. We're at about 55 this morning, and not going to go much more than 60, I think. Yeah. Overcast and some rain last over the weekend. We were talking
last night. I just did another recording for the show last night, and first time ever, the guy was out in the deer blind outside of Detroit, and he's sitting out there, and he said, "Yeah, it's a little chilly, but I'm hanging out, And here he's got his mic, he's got his light, And I'm like, "Dude, do you take Michael? Do you take a generator out there?" He goes, "Oh yeah, I got the generator going out here. Hunting season starts a week from now, so I'm just kind of scoping things out and enjoying the outdoors, And anyway, but he told me it was a little chilly. But he had the camo on and he's all bundled up, and but listen, you're a hockey player. Come on, you play on the ice. You have 55 degrees. Come on, you live in Detroit. That's a sauna. Come on.
Hockey season's about to begin. Preseason starts this week. So my story. I was born and raised in Toronto, Canada. Part of my upbringing in Canada, as you all know, the first thing you do is learn how to skate, not walk. And it's true for most Canadians, and me, one of them. And so I played hockey as a kid. I got two siblings, a brother and a sister. They didn't participate in any sports. I was the only kid that played that in our family. And so enjoyed my hockey, short-lived, I won't call it career, but junior system, had some fun with it. After high school, I went to work for a national sign company in Toronto market area, and got my.
How did you pick that sign company? I mean, was signage
something?
It
was funny. It was funny. I actually didn't. I don't come from the sign business, and my dad was in construction. I didn't want to do construction at that time. The hard labor part of it was not my kind of thing, and I went out for looking for jobs when I was 20 years old, and I applied for a dozen places, and a sign company called me, and I went for the interview, and I was going to get into bookkeeping, accounting, was what I kind of majored in, and I quickly realized after they hired me that that's not what I wanted to do. I was looking at the salespeople working there, and it was a lot more lucrative and it looked like a lot more fun than sitting counting numbers all day long. And so I decided that, okay, I don't know anything about sales. I don't know anything about the sign business, and I need to learn this business in order to sell. The whole thing about selling is to be a consultant, not a salesperson per se. And you want to educate your customers. In order to do so, I needed to learn the business. And I learned the business. I spent 3 to 4 years estimating signs and so forth, and got my break into selling signs. And from there, I worked for a national or international supply company for signs. They supplied, it was an old flex face heat transfer process. It was created by 3M at the time, and we were their competitor. And I got to that's where I got my foot into the US, working the Northeast. My territory was from Maine down to Virginia. And I did that for about 5 years, and I realized that was pretty cool at the time, but I went through some personal issues and came back to work in the Canadian market for a few years. And then I knew at one time I was going to come back and I was going to move to the US, and an opportunity came in '98 to work for a national company here in Detroit area, and took the job, got my work permits, and eventually got my citizenship. Took me quite some time and quite some dollars to do so, but I got there.
Welcome to the US. Yay.
It was
Congratulations.
It was very honorable to go through that process and becoming a citizen. It was awesome. I won't forget.
Let me ask you a question. When you went through, when you did your pledge and whatever, how many people were with you?
In the group?
Yeah.
I think there were about 70 or 75.
Oh, wow.
And the majority of them came from all over the world, obviously. I think I was the only 1 or 2 Canadians that were being sworn in. They were from all over the world.
What a wow.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it had to be cool, man. That's awesome.
My wife did the same thing. My son did the same thing. Funny that I sponsored them, but they became citizens before I did. I didn't understand that part of it, but that's okay. So after spending 10 years with this national sign company, I decided to embark on my own sign company, and I started IdentiCom Signs in 2009. If you remember, the housing meltdown is exactly when I started IdentiCom. And at the time, I set it up as a project management company, providing complete turnkey services to end users. And we didn't manufacture any signs in house, so I would outsource all the manufacturing from wholesale sign companies around the country. And in turn, it worked out great because it saved our customers a ton of money in freight. So if I had a customer in California or Nevada or West Coast, I had a factory that I partnered with in terms of relationship building with them and providing us with our sign manufacturing. And then if I had something in Texas or Florida or the Northeast, I had set up all these wholesale companies. So did that for about 5 years, and then 5 years later, I decided to embark on manufacturing. So I went out and spent a bunch of money looking to buy the equipment, and so we bought the paint booth, the CNC machine, channel bender, all the necessary equipment to build signs from soup to nuts. And here we are now, 6 years later, manufacturing signs for companies all over the country, including wholesale. So I also wholesale signs to other sign companies who need that kind of service from us. And here we are now. And back in 2015, 16, and 17, IdentiCom made the Inc. 5,000 fastest growing companies. So 3 years running, we made that list. And of course, 2020 kicked in, and things changed. And from there, we all had that pain, and we had to downsize, a skeleton crew. We were still considered essential, so I had a few people come to work. We still maintained a few clients during that roller coaster ride, and we got through it. It was tough, and of course, we got out of it early this year. We started to roll back a little bit, and now there are in our fourth quarter, or third quarter, and it just is ending. We really put some numbers up there. Our clients have come back, and we've built up. We've closed on a few new clients in the midst of all this, and so far so good in terms of our business. In terms of there's not a whole lot of new products out there as of right now. They're just improved products, and not necessarily new products or new technology. They're improved in terms of our sign business.
Hey, listen,
and
signage. It's architectural. It's energy. It's directional. It's your brand. It's got so many different things to it, and you got to be able to see it from the highway. You got to make sure all your letters are lit. You don't want to have something funky, that it's spelling right, and signage is, it's a creative thing too, because, it's not just, let's just put a channel letter up there on the wall and, light them up and so forth. So, signage is a very, very, in my opinion, signage is one of the, other than general contractor, I think, and of all the categories that we cover in the magazine, I think signage is probably one of the most competitive sectors to be in my opinion. Just because I talk to enough of them that I think facility owners or property managers so they get to call some signage guys probably every day. Am I right?
That's so true. There's a lot more than what most people think that goes into getting that sign put on that wall. From the front end due diligence and code research, determining what the city or the municipality will allow in signage. Every city and every township has their own jurisdictions, and they vary from town to town. And we have a team of permit procurement staff that does all that homework to determine what is allowed, so the customer is aware that we can put this size sign and so forth. How many elevations you can put the sign up? Is a ground sign allowed? There's a lot of due diligence at the front end. Working with landlords, a lot of times it's just a lot of red tape to deal with, not just the city, but with the landlord. And in some cases, landlords have stricter guidelines or rules than the city does. So our team manages all that. So there's a lot that goes into that. And once that's done, we have a team of designers that put together a rendering to show a proposed sign, an existing conditions versus proposed. And of course, all that takes time to put together. And so if an end user lands themselves a good sign company that knows how to check all those marks and ensure that the things are getting done in a timely fashion, then they've got themselves a pretty good sign company. And there's a lot of good sign companies out there, of course, us included in that realm. So yes, there is, it's not just a pretty picture. It's just not a LED lit sign with a plastic face and a red or green color going on to it. It's more than that. And buyers know this. A lot of buyers, if they're not new to the business and buying signs, they know all this. They've been educated by their sign company, and we're one to do the same in terms of educating our clients as much as we can, so they can then make smart decisions on choosing the right type of sign, choosing the right specifications in terms of durability and longevity, warranties, which is very critical for our clients. We hand select our vendors. in terms of the durability and the warranty, make sure that we get the best warranties in the industry. One of our latest acquisitions in terms of equipment, our sign company, we're mostly electrical outdoor signs, but we do a lot of interior signs. And we had a client approach us to do thousands of ADA Braille compliant signs. And I went out and bought a 3D printer to do so. And it's an amazing piece of equipment. Really simple, fast. It's something that I wish I would have done sooner, but opportunity wasn't there at the time. So I'm glad I did, and it's been turning out very, very good for us.
And every sign the thing turns out, it's exactly like the other one. So consistency is it's not even an issue. It's like, it's a replica.
Correct.
Yeah.
So and then during during the roller coaster, one of the issues we had, of course, sales were down, but even though sales were down, we still had a huge challenge in the supply chain. Our supply chain, we couldn't get extrusions, we couldn't get vinyl. And to this day, we're still having some hiccups, but the most of it is much better today. But during 20 and 21, especially 21, we just couldn't get any product. And it was very challenging to ensure that their signs are getting done on time, on a timely fashion. And we had to find alternative products in the meantime to fulfill these orders that we were receiving from our clients. And it was extremely difficult. And of course, obviously, everyone's been hit with all the price increases due to the supply chain demand or lack of supply chain. And of course, our prices went up 30, 40, 50%, in some cases double. We've seen it's settled off now. It's leveled off in terms of pricing. I haven't seen too many increases, which is good for us and our clients. I just hope it stabilizes in the coming years, not to deal with this kind of roller coaster ride again.
Oh yeah.
Something that,
you and I are very, very similar. Listen, I'm a manufacturer. Even when I was printing the magazine, I had to buy a paper. I had to, make sure the printer I was dealing with was competent. I had to have editorial, and we take everything just kind of like you and kind of put it all together. And then people don't realize all the different things that have to go. And even though I'm still digital, I still have the same process. I'm just not dealing with the post office and the printer, but I still have access to that if I ever we do print on demand and that kind of stuff. But you and I are we build stuff, and at the end when it's up lit on the outside, or if it's on the braille sign or the interior signage that you might do, it's there so you can see, hey, wow, that's something that I built. So when every issue comes out, I do the same thing. I always tell people I'm a contractor, I'm a builder, just like a guy's building the store. They go through the pre-construction, they get all their ducks in a row, they build it, and then they turn the keys over. Myself, when I post it up on the web, I'm kind of turning the keys over to my the subscribers and the visitors on the site. So you and I are in the same kind of gig, just different kind of processes and materials and stuff. So I totally get it. And you got to know what you're doing, because if you pick the wrong vendor or you pick the wrong product, I can't tell you, when going back January of 2020, I did my largest summit. It was my 10th anniversary in Jacksonville. Did you go to Jacksonville? Were you in Jacksonville?
Yes,
yeah. Yeah, that was a great event. We did the tour, we did go-karting, Axon. We ended up at the Jacksonville Stadium. Weather was a little chilly. When we leave, of course, he becomes 85 again. But that was a great event. Did my first cocktail party in Florida down at Coconut Grove, did the tour. And then in March, I'm up in Milwaukee doing the tour for my fall retreats. And then everything gets shut down, so I fly home, and it's going to be a couple weeks. Oh, it'll be a couple months. And here we are 30 months later, we're coming out of it. And I learned more about my business than I think I ever have. And I've been around since I started my first magazine in 1999. So, 22, 23 plus years. Went on my own in 2001. And right after 9/11, probably one of the worst times to do it, but, listen, timing in business is everything. You got to roll the dice. And looking back, I remember, I put my March, April issue out because all my summit wrap up was then in that issue, but I was fighting my printer saying, hey, half my circulation is furloughed or their offices are closed. Nothing's going to get delivered. why would I want to pay for all this postage and paper and ink when, it's just going to get thrown away? And of course, my printer's like, David, you've been a publisher forever, economies of scale. Once the printing press is, set up, it's easy to, very low cost paper ink. I just said, I'll just bite the bullet and I'll send them. Then I sat back, and the month of April, I had a lot of late nights where I would just get up in the middle of the night and go, okay, what am I going to do? I'm bi-monthly. I can't send any contracts. I'm a face-to-face guy. Everything's frozen. What am I going to do? And my editor and I and my artist, they said, let's go digital. And I had a digital magazine forever. I just ignored it, but I had a lot of content on there. And I said, you know what? I'm going to roll the dice. So we did a very small press run, but we increased the printing. But I'll tell you that when I did that, that was like, pulling your goalie and putting in the third string goalie in the Stanley Cup playoffs, in game 7, put it in perspective, because you just don't know how it's all going to, be accepted. And it's been unbelievable, the transformation I've gone from print face-to-face to digital now. And I used to be bi-monthly, now monthly. I don't have that. I used to love having that breather, but I closed an issue and boom, now I have another. Just like a project, boom, you get to another one, you go to another project. And but I've learned so much about my company, my people, the process, and being flexible and using technology, just like we're on today, to get things done. And talk about yourself, with your company, as the roller coaster started, and the ups and downs of it. Talk about,
Well,
did you have people go work out of their homes? How did all that go about?
well, you made a comment earlier about pride, being proud of the work that you're doing and the finished product and so forth. It pleases me when I see my sign fabricators in the shop talk about when they travel with their family, their kids, their friends, and they're driving down the street and they'll recognize a sign from one of our national accounts. And he says, son, I built that sign. Oh, it's part of me. I handle this part of that sign. And it makes them proud driving down the street when they're not working and seeing their finished work. And it makes me feel good about that, because I know that they feel good about what they're doing. And that's an important key factor in employees. To answer your question in regards to scaling back, we had the skeleton crew in the shop coming in. We're not a very large company in terms of manufacturing. We do have 10 factory workers, and we were down to 3 during the roller coaster ride. Brought them all back in right after, was it 2021 somewhere, and they were all brought back in. The office staff, my project managers, designers, my code, they split up. Some are working from home, some are coming into the office still. So I still like that personal touch, having people come into the office, but not necessary. I'm good with the fact that they are working from home, and as long as they're productive, that's the most important thing that I look at when I look at my staff members, my team members, ensuring that they're being productive and getting their jobs done in a timely fashion and with accuracy.
A lot of owners, over the last, especially in 2021, when things were kind of starting to open up, they wanted their employees to come back to the office. And it was a very, very you had to, there were definitely fence sitters there, because as things opened up, people wanted to go to rock concerts, hockey games, go out and do things outside, but they didn't want to go back to the office. So you got this real estate you're sitting on, and you don't want to go offshore and get cheaper labor, because you won't get the quality, or and there's nothing like in person. You can't just replace that. But one of the things that I learned talking to architects, engineers, contractors, vendors, end users, facility owners, you name it, through all this podcasting recordings, was that they found out that they were people that worked out of the house. Now, there are some people that can't work out of the house. They have to be in an office structured. But for the most part, the majority of them, that they said, oh my God, my dogs are barking, sorry. They're protecting me. Anyway, they said that they had the most productive year in 2022, because they trusted their staffs, They didn't have the gossip going at the water cooler. They didn't have these long, lengthy meetings. They could get their meetings done on Zoom, and they fit 15 minutes. And so now a lot of people are in this hybrid gig where some people come in the office. Sometimes they only come in a couple days a week, and they pick and choose where they're going to do these in-person gigs, where instead of driving an hour and a half to go look at something that's going to take minutes, you can do it here right on Zoom or on FaceTime on your phone or what have you. So technology, it was there before. Zoom was there before the shutdown. It's just a lot of people probably, just like I had my digital magazine, I kind of ignored it. But now I know people say, I hate Zoom, I'm on it all day, but believe me, it's not going anywhere. It's going to be a staple in business today until something new comes out technology wise that'll make it easier. But that was the one thing that they said, that they wanted to maintain their company culture, but they also wanted to believe in their staff, and that they had more, and a lot of people found out they have more than life than just work, spending time with kids, doing stuff with their kids outside or what have you, than just work, and living by your phone. Oh, I got an email at 10 o'clock, I got to answer that. And so I think a lot of companies found out that they could actually, get this done. Now they're in the conundrum of, well, what do I do with all this space? And the real estate market right now has got to figure out, okay, what am I going to do with all this open space? Well, guess what? As a sign guy, that's a very positive thing, because whatever they do with it, they're going to have to rebrand it,
Right.
And it's just like retail. Their stores, depending on the retail and the category, every 3 to 5 years, they're going to, put fresh paint in, a new model, new prototype. If you don't keep your stores looking fresh, your competitor's going to overtake you. And it's a positive. If you look at it in the newspaper, I know I've said this before, but I always say it. You see these doom and gloom articles. Oh, so-and-so is going to close 30 stores. But if you read 6 or 7 paragraphs down in that article, there's a paragraph in there that says, yeah, but they're going to put up 20 new ones,
Correct.
and the ones that they're closing, someone else is going to purchase, and then they're going to have to rebrand those. So, I always look like like we have a hurricane coming up in Florida right now. I don't even know what it's called, but I know it's, the emergency. I just saw the thing. Florida's going to get hit, and my kid's in Charleston, so hopefully it doesn't go on that side. But any of the damage that happens there, and hopefully it'll be minimal. But if it does, all that's going to have to get rebuilt once again. And it's so from a construction point, whether you're in building or signage or facility restoration or any of that kind of stuff, someone's got to do that. So I'm not saying, hey, let's have some storms or whack a bunch of homes or whatever. I'm just saying that stuff happens, but then we have to get things done to get it done. So it's a very interesting cycle that when you look at it from 20,000 feet up, and and like the real estate, a lot of these chains, look, they had some dead stores. They were old dogs. They had to get rid of them. It was just kind of a catalyst. So I always look at turning negatives into positives, and but I'm telling you, so many owners said that they had, like you just said, you're kicking tail, and you're into Q3 going to Q4. You're going to finish this, the year off probably, with momentum, and, going into 2023. And, a lot of those people that I've spoken with, they were blown away. They just didn't think that it was going to work, and it actually did. And so I commend you for, listen, hockey players are just, I like talking to hockey players. You know why? Because you get freaking hurt, you get stitched up on the bench, you go back out, I mean, you get a tooth knocked out, whatever, I just, one of my dogs is getting really, really old. I picked him up, he bit me the other day, and I got a really nice gash on my wife's like, aren't you going to get that? I'm like, nah, I'll just put a hydroperoxide on a little, some ointment, and and I'll be okay, and here's my last thumb. This is my broken thumb from lacrosse. I never got it set. I went in.
Wow.
Yeah, look at this one. I got scored, and the guy slashed me, and it's still bent. Like, anyway, the doctor's like, well, I can put a cast on it, or I can just put like a temporary splint. I'm like, oh, I'm still playing the season. Just put the temporary splint on there, or whatever.
Sure.
So hockey players are, we're just a different breed, man. It's like you got to really be hurt not to go back on the ice.
True. To talk about that, a while back, wasn't wearing a visor at the time. I got smashed into the glass and cut in my eyelid. And sure enough, my one of my teammates, he got some first aid kit, patched me up. I missed a shift, went back on the ice, finished the game. After the game, went to the emergency, got it stitched up.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's what hockey players do.
Well, you know, when I broke my thumb, it was like in the third quarter, I think. So I played the fourth quarter, but I didn't take my glove off because I was like, and it was throbbing. So after the game, I go over to the EMT on the sidelines and I go, hey, I think I broke my thumb. Let me take my glove off. And he looked at it and he goes, oh, dude, man, that's totally broken, man. You need to go get x-rayed. And I'm like, you know what, just put some tape on a little splint and I'll call my doctor in the morning, you know? And so, you know, I broke my nose several times, fingers, ribs. I've been put together, you know, I just, you know, have both my ACLs done. You know, you know, people don't understand, you know, if you're a hockey player, you know, I'm a lacrosse hockey player. I should have been born in Canada, you know, because people tell me all the time, Dave, you're a lacrosse hockey player. You're born in the wrong state, man, you know, in the wrong country, you know, but anyway, you know, hockey players just have a different mentality, you know, and I take that into business because, you know, I remember there were some big boys that, you know, that I played against, you know, prep school, you know, even during squirts and bantams and all that stuff, you know, going all the way up to the college. There were some big boys that, you know, I would go into the corner with, and you know, I wasn't scared. You know, I was a good skater. I had leverage, and but there were times where I got pounded, you know, in the boards by some big dudes. And same thing on lacrosse. You know, you got to keep your head on a swivel, because if not, they're going to gun for you. You know, there's nothing like you know, making the highlight reel, cleaning someone out. You know, hopefully legally. You know, but you know that. You know, stuff like, I know you played last night, you know, in the over 40 league. So I'm sure it gets chippy there, you know?
It does.
Yeah.
So it's not, there's no checking, but it gets competitive and does get chippy.
But after the game, you're out in the parking lot drinking beers, hanging out. You all got to go to work on Monday. So it's, you know, it's like, you know, hey, you know, that was really cool, dirty chick. You know, I'll remember that the next time to do someone else. You know, thanks a lot. You know, but you know, all the jarring, but then you'll end up in the parking lot and it's okay. You know, it's amazing. You know what goes on. But anyway, to get back to where I was, I'm so, you know, that you kept your blinders on through the roller coaster, and you know, you learned and you made it out. And everybody out there that did the same thing, hats off to you. You're still standing, you know. And you know what, you're still standing at the end of Q3. We're going into Q4, and you're all going to make it. Just like myself, I'm still standing. I mean, I started my thing during the internet bubble. Then I went through the crash of 08 and 09, when the economy fell off the cliff with the housing market bubble, you know, that burst, you know, and then we came back, and there might have been a couple other blips in there, and, you know, and then we had, you know, I had this freaking, you know, ridiculous shutdown. And listen, I don't mean to say ridiculous, but, you know, listen, did it have to be done now that all the facts are out? Probably not. But the bottom line is, even though it happened, I learned so much about my business that I'm probably in a better place than I was if it didn't happen, you know? So, you know, I'm not glad it happened, but I learned from it. And that's probably the most important thing. You know?
Tough times creates strong people.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So,
and that's how we found out, or, you know, like yours believes that that's what happened with us. We had to change the games, the rule of the game here in my company, in order to adapt to the new landscape. How it went on for 30 months. And fortunately, we were able to transition. We're flexible. We're small enough that we are flexible. Decisions are made very quickly. We don't need to go through a whole lot of red tape to make those kind of decisions. The fact that we are now a very large company. I want to add something too.
Sure.
In 2018, so IdentiCom also provides service for maintenance service for signs, parking lot signs, or street signs, I should say, building signs. And from that, with our bucket trucks being out in the field repairing signs, they also repair light parking lot lights and wall packs and so forth. Well, did that for years, and then one of my clients came to me and says, would you mind doing some HVAC work for us? Oh no, sorry, it was electrical work or interior. I says, well, yeah, but it would require a different type of technician. I don't need a bucket truck to do interior, therefore you don't want to spend that kind of money. And I started working on interior electrical work. And then they brought me into the HVAC, and I said, well, I don't know anything about HVAC. And so I started another company through this one client of mine that decided that they wanted to give us a go at the HVAC. I hired a facility maintenance manager, project manager that had experience in that area, and voila, Facility RX Services was born in 2018, and we're killing it right now. We're involved with all commercial, not residential, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, handyman, painting, flooring, roofing, you name it, anything with facility maintenance, we do now. And that was due to my IdentiCom relationships with my clients. And now we're offering, the services to the same customers, and some of them they cross over, some don't cross over, believe it or not. So it's been very successful. And this year we made Facility RX made the 5,000 Inc. fastest growing companies. So that would be 4 out of my 2 companies that are before times we made that list. So it's kind of an honor to get to that point whereby we can manage growth through the pandemic, through the roller coaster ride. So that was great for us in terms of the facility part of it. So it kept me busy. So to say the least, there's no boring minute throughout the 30 months. Trying to keep the doors open at the same time, growing a newly formed company, and it worked. It worked very well for us.
One of the really cool things you told me over the years was that, hey, I said, hey, I just saw a retailer sign, a couple letters out, and it doesn't look good or whatever. He goes, oh man, I drive around, or we drive around, we find them, we write them down, we contact them, man. It's old school, right? And that's basically the way it's still done, unless they. It's high tech. Hey, we see one of your signs is out. We'll come out and fix it or whatever. But some of them aren't that high tech, so they don't even know that it's out. But you're out there looking, right?
Yeah, we have we usually have that our juniors doing that. They'll drive in the wintertime, starts a little earlier, at 6 o'clock or so. They'll drive for 2 hours down the street, and they'll take notes on signs that are out. And the next day they call up. By the way, you didn't notice this, but your sign was up last night, you need to get it repaired. And that's how we built our service and maintenance business, by driving down the street, old school, like you said. And to this day, a lot of sign companies still do that, especially ones that specialize in doing service and maintenance.
Hey,
that's your bread and butter.
I do the same thing. I still get about 50 magazines, that I look at, digitally and printed, but I still go through there. And, if I see someone that's not an advertiser, or I see a cool project, or I see something cool that they're doing, I'll tweak it a little, and, but I mean, that's how I'm getting my leads too. I'm looking, hey, ooh, this is new. I never saw that. I rip it out, I put it in the folder, and then I go after it. So, hey, that's called being aggressive, man. The puck goes in the corner. You got to put your head down and go get it. You got to be the first one to get out there, because there's another 2 guys that are coming to get it too, right? So. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Mr. DiNunzio, you're still standing, and you got your sign business, you got the facility maintenance gig. You're going to finish the year off strong. You're still skating. You're not Gordie Howe age, but it's coming. You got. I told my wife, I said, look, as long as I can, run up and down the lacrosse field or go down the frozen pond. Gordie Howe played till he was 63. I'm going to make it till after that, they'll have to put me in a wheelchair, maybe I'll do sled skating or whatever, but the bottom line is I got to play, I got to do something. I'm a competitive guy. And, as we finish up our talk, if there was one positive thought with everything that you've gone through, through your life, and I think becoming an American citizen was awesome, and your kids and your wife went first. That is really, really cool, because you're a Canadian and you want to become a US citizen. So it tells you how, and I went to hockey school up in Canada outside of Toronto, Pickering, Ontario forever. And so I have a, you know, a very, very fond relationship about Canada. And so, you know, as looking back and moving forward too, if there was one positive thought or phrase that you would want to leave with our commercial construction coffee talk listeners out there, what would it be?
Stay true to yourself and set goals, reach those goals, and you'll be successful at whatever you're doing, whether it be science, maintenance, construction, and if you're not in our business, whatever business you choose, put in the time, learn about new products, new procedures, new technologies to keep up with the times. I've been in this business for 40 years, and I'm still learning, and I like that part of it. That really drives me to improve my companies by learning more and more and hiring the right people that surround with smart people, knowledgeable people that will promote your business and promote themselves. People are the number one thing, no matter where you look at it. It comes down to people, and it's a struggle sometimes. But you know, times change. People working from home today, and again, that's fine as long as they're performing and they take the time. You know, a few of my employees says, you know, it took me 45 minutes to an hour to come to work every day. So I'm losing 2 hours a day. But when I'm at home, I can start working at the time I'm traveling. So you're going to gain 2 hours of my time working for you in terms of performing things. And of course, all that does not go unnoticed. It does go noticed in terms of packages and so forth and benefits. So, you know, it's a give and take. At the end of the day, stay true to yourself and design a plan, work it.
Yep. I'm right there with you. You know, the best thing you said is, you know, is that you're always learning. And I always say the day I stop learning is the day I should go do something else, you know? And, you know, I'm a black belt. You never stop learning. You know, you climb the tree, you get your first degree. You know, I want to go back on the mat and start getting my second degree, but you're always learning it. You could go fifth, sixth degree, and there's still got my sensei. He's a fourth degree. He's still learning. You know, so, and you know, lightning quick. Wouldn't screw with him, but you know, it's but your people are the most important thing. You need people to do stuff for you. So if they've bought into the system, man, you half the battle's already won, or even more of the battle's already won. Now you just got to perform, you know, prove your worth, and then, you know, roll. So very, very cool stuff.
I'd like to extend an offer to you, David. I have a season ticket holder for the Red Wings. Anytime you're in Detroit, you let me know. We'll take you there. But I got to say one thing on a personal level here. I'm truly a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. My heart is all over for Toronto Maple Leafs. Unfortunately, they haven't exited or they exited in the first round for the last 6-7 years. But I am a season ticket holder for the Red Wings. I do root for the Red Wings, but my true love is Maple Leafs. So go Leafs, go, and go Wings, go as well. Let's go Red Wings.
So when I went to the hockey ranch in Pickering, Ontario for all those summers, okay, you know, all the hockey schools, they always have a major hockey star there, you know, to get people to come, you know, kids. So the star at my school was a Maple Leaf. His name was Gary Monahan. I don't know if you remember that name.
Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah, well, there you go. So he was the star. He was like the star of the camp. And so anyway, every summer, and you know, I went up there. You know, shoot, I was young, and it was funny. The first time I went over, I didn't have my passport, and the guy goes, "Do you have any ID?" I must have been like, you know, 8 years old. I'm like, "No, but my mother writes my name in my underwear," you know, and you know, so they let me in, and they let me in the following year. But then the third year, they kicked me back. They made me come back, and I called my parents. I'm like, "Hey, I'm back in Philadelphia. What do you mean?" They wouldn't let me in, so I had to get my passport to get back because I used to spend a month up there. So anyway, good story. But Gary Monahan was a thing, and I was in the old arena. I saw the Red Wings play, you know, next to Cobo Hall.
The Olympia?
Oh yeah, yeah. Saw, and I've seen an old game in the old Maple Leaf Arena, which now I think is a supermarket, you know, that they redeveloped and stuff. But I would totally love to come up, you know, to Detroit, but I have to come up there in winter because that's when hockey season is. And but I will definitely take you up on that offer. I wish I could do the same. Well, we've got a minor league team. We don't have a pro team anymore because they tucked their, leaves and, they went back to Winnipeg, and, that's where the Thrashers went. But, hockey's in my blood, just like you. I was put on skis, skates, right when I could walk, so, I didn't pick up a lacrosse stick till I was in prep school, but, I did the same thing with my kid, put him on skis and skate, and, we did roller hockey and, and then we went into lacrosse, and then we went into Taekwondo, and, and now he's working, we always did stuff with the cars and the bikes, and, now he's working with his hands. So it's amazing that, you want your kids to follow your footsteps, but, that you want to do it in their own kind of fashion. And I never pushed him in anything, never. He just wanted to, do stuff. So, but I did coach all the way through, and I was not a daddy coach. Hey, my kid's playing. I was probably tougher on him than any of the other kids.
Same here.
Same here, and I always tell him.
I coached my son 7 years, the same idea. I was not favoring my son. He had to work harder than the other players in order to receive accolades from me. But at the same token, off the ice, after the game or after the practice at home, I'd have a talk with him and let him know that, this is not, I'm not doing this to discipline you. I'm just doing this so for you to, to grow some thick skin and learn the discipline of sports, because you can take that discipline from sports and take it to your professional world in terms of whatever career that you choose. And he turns out that that's exactly what he's done. He's an IT expert now, and he's excellent at doing that. And I believe a part of that was upbringing of playing sports.
I used to tell my kid, I said, look, if you can't handle me barking at you, okay, you're not going to be able to make it out in the business world, because, look, this is, high school lacrosse or, hockey, whatever. If you can't make it in here, when you get out in the real world, believe me, it's about 50 times worse. Okay. It's just vicious. Yep. So you better have some thick skin. So if you can't handle me barking, and the best was, what was great is that, I didn't want some Yahoo coaching my son. I wanted him taught the right way. And so, we did roller, we did Taekwondo together, we did lacrosse. But after he, graduated, I still coached high school lacrosse here. So when I was a coach, I didn't have any skin in the game. I was just a coach. So I used to tell the players, hey, this is high school lacrosse, only the best play. This isn't rec league anymore, and I'm not your friend. I'm here to win games. Okay. Cause I don't want your parents barking at me. Okay. So, that whole, it's one of those things. And I look back at the way that I treated him and the way that I treated, the other players that I didn't know. And when I went and, it's really cool stuff, that whole sports thing. And that's why I like talking to athletes and having them talk about business, because being an athlete, all the ups and downs, winning, losing, getting hurt, getting the bad call from the ref, you can't change it, can't change the score after it's over, but you can do something moving forward. That's why I always like talking to athletes that go into business, because they get it. And not that if you didn't play sports isn't a bad thing. I'm just saying that athletes have a different mindset than, it doesn't matter if you're cross country, you could be a rower, ping pong play, whatever. You still have to practice, and you still have to be, do all those things to become a champion. So, hats off, really cool stuff. So, listen, enjoy the warm weather up in Detroit, and, down here, I'm going to enjoy the warmer weather down here in the ATL. So everybody out there, it's the end of Q3, Q4 is coming up. You got Thanksgiving, you got Halloween, then, you're going to have all the holidays, and then New Year's, boom, this, it's going to be there before you know it. So if you're out there working, get those stores finished by Thanksgiving. Let's hope they have phenomenal sales to finish the year off strong and with momentum. If you're out there on the construction site, drink lots of water, and ultimately we want you to be safe. So with that said, John, pleasure speaking with my hockey compadre out there. Keep kicking tail in the over 40 league up there in Detroit, and say goodbye to our audience out there in Commercial Construction Coffee Talk.
Thank you, David, for your time. Thank you for inviting me. Appreciate it. Everyone, have a great fourth quarter. happy holidays, and
Oh, one
we'll
last
see
thing.
you.
If someone wanted to get in contact you about either signage or maintenance, how would they reach out to you?
Yeah, well, IdentiComSigns.com,
Okay.
FacilityRxServices.com. Look us up over there. There's phone numbers posted there, and give us a call, and we'll do what we can to help you up with your issues that you're having, and we'll turn problems into solutions.
So if you're looking for any sign or facility help, give John a call, see if he can help you. Synergy's everything, but give him a shot. He'll prove his worth. And then
all right, fist bump.
Hey, there you go. And if anybody wants to reach me, I'm at davidc@ccr-mag.com. Hey, if you got anything, send it to me. We look at everything. Just had another 2.5 million people hit our website. I think I'm going to go over that at the end of this month, because I was just looking at the stats last night. And, charity golf tournament, new hires, case studies. We find, listen, I post something, I'll send you the link. It's win-win. And you can put it on your social media and post it. So send me something. We'll look at everything. But David C, ccr-mag.com. And we'd love to become a subscriber too. So with that said, John, say goodbye from Detroit.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
And I'm going to say goodbye from just below the Beaufort Dam by Lake Lanier and Sugar Hill, about 25 miles north of Atlanta. And we will see you next time on another episode of Commercial Construction Coffee Talk. And John, can't wait to go to that Red Wings game. I'm going to take you up on that. All right. Hey, listen, man, have a great week. We'll talk. All right.
Thank you. Yep.
All right. See ya.